The weight of her silence. She swore I was the only one in her life. But one evening I noticed something. It was nothing monumental at first. A flicker of her eyes toward her phone when she thought I wasn't watching. A smile that bloomed too suddenly, too brightly, as if sparked by someone else's words rather than my presence. We had been together nearly 6 years, and in that time I had learned to read the subtle changes in her expression as if they were my own. I knew when her laughter was genuine and when it was armor. That night, in the dim light of our living room, I saw a crack in the armor she hadn't meant to reveal. I told myself not to be paranoid. Love makes you paranoid sometimes, doesn't it? You think a delayed response or an unfamiliar perfume means disaster. And yet something inside me twisted. Over the next week I tried to shake it off. We went about our lives as usual, dinners together, her head resting on my shoulder while we watched some forgettable show, quiet mornings with coffee and silence. But the silence grew heavier. She no longer met my gaze in the same way. Her phone stayed closer, always face down. When I reached out in the night, sometimes I found only cold sheets. Doubt is poison, and it spread through me quickly. The first suspicion. One evening, she left her laptop open on the kitchen counter. She had gone to shower, humming some melody I didn't recognize. I tried not to look. God knows I tried. But curiosity is a cruel thing. My eyes caught on a tab in the corner, Flights Paris. My chest tightened. Paris had always been our dream, a trip we promised we would take together once we had the money, the time, the courage. Yet there it was, a ticket search with one seat selected. When she came back, wrapped in steam and towels, I asked casually, planning a surprise trip. Her eyes darted, just for a second, then she smiled too sweetly. Oh, just daydreaming. You know I love to imagine things like that. Her words were smooth, but her voice trembled ever so slightly. The slow unraveling. From then on, I became both detective and prisoner in my own home. I started noticing more. A text notification lighting her phone late at night, quickly swiped away. Excuses about working late when I knew her office closed hours before. The faint scent of cologne on her scarf, not mine. Every clue was small, insignificant if taken alone. But together, they built a wall between us. I confronted her once, gently. Is there someone else? I asked, half hoping she'd laugh and call me ridiculous. But she didn't laugh. She grew angry instead, defensive. How could you think that of me? After everything? I apologized, though the ache in my gut only deepened. The confrontation. It happened on a rainy Thursday. She came home late, soaked through, her cheeks flushed. Something inside me snapped. Tell me the truth, I demanded. Who is he? She froze, her umbrella dripping on the floor. For a moment, the world held its breath. There's no one, she whispered. But her eyes betrayed her, wide, frightened, pleading. Don't lie to me, I said. My voice cracked, torn between fury and despair. I can take anything but lies. Tears welled in her eyes. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Finally, with a sob, she admitted, there is someone. But it's not what you think. Her words tore me open. Not what I think. What else could it be? The shattered truth. Over the following hours, the truth bled out of her in fragments. She had met him at a work conference months ago. It began innocently, long conversations, laughter, a spark she hadn't expected. Then dinners. Then touches. Then nights. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said again and again, like a prayer she hoped would absolve her. I listened, numb. Each detail was a knife. She had given pieces of herself to him, her laughter, her secrets, her body. The parts I thought were mine alone. When she was done, she reached across the table, whispering, "But I love you." I never stopped loving you. I recoiled. If you loved me, you wouldn't have destroyed me. The aftermath. The days that followed were a blur. She begged for forgiveness, swore she would end it, swore she would prove herself. I wanted to believe her, but every time she touched me I felt his shadow between us. At night, I lay awake replaying every moment of our past, now tainted. Had she been thinking of him during our last vacation? Was her smile in our photographs meant for me, or borrowed from someone else? The torment became unbearable. One evening, I told her I needed to see him. She blanched. Why? Because I need to look into the eyes of the man who took my life apart. The meeting. We met at a small CAF downtown. He arrived confident, almost smug, as though had already won. You must be him, he said, extending his hand. I ignored it. Why her? I asked, my voice low. He shrugged. It just happened. We connected. Sometimes people outgrow each other. His casual cruelty was worse than anger. He spoke as though I were a chapter already closed, as though my love, my years, my sacrifices were nothing but a footnote. I left before I broke something, or someone. The bitter choice. When I returned home, she was waiting, eyes red from crying. Please, don't leave me, she whispered. We can start over. I'll do anything. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. But her betrayal had carved something out of me that could never be restored. I packed my things in silence. She clung to me, sobbing, begging. At the door, I turned to her. You swore I was the only one. Remember that when you lie awake at night. Then I left. The twist. Weeks passed. I moved into a small apartment, drowning in loneliness but clinging to the scraps of dignity I had left. Friends called, tried to console me, but nothing eased the emptiness. One day, sorting through boxes, I found her old journal. She had given it to me years ago, claiming she had nothing to hide. I almost threw it away, but curiosity compelled me to open it. There, on the final pages, I found words that shattered me all over again. I never meant to hurt him. The other man, he reminds me of my father. The same voice, the same cruelty. I thought if I could endure his touch, I could rewrite the past, take back the power stolen from me as a child. But instead I lost everything. I lost the only person I truly loved. I dropped the book, my hands shaking. It wasn't passion that drew her away. It was pain, trauma I had never known she carried. She hadn't sought love, she had sought punishment, a twisted way to master her scars. The realization was unbearable. She had betrayed me, yes, but she had also betrayed herself. The bitter end. I never went back. Some wounds run too deep to be healed by understanding. Love may explain, but it cannot always forgive. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder what might have been if she had told me the truth from the beginning. If I could have held her pain instead of being destroyed by it. But the only truth I have now is silence, heavy and unrelenting. And in that silence, I hear her vow again, you are the only one in my life. Perhaps she even believed it. But belief doesn't erase betrayal. It only makes the ending more bitter.